low-income housing is not only beginning to be a real problem in the United States, but everyone is starting to see symptoms of it, and Los Angeles is a prime example of that.
Our breaking news out of the San Fernando Valley, the LAPD and city sanitation crews are clearing out a large homeless encampment.
Every night, more than 700,000 seniors go to sleep inside RVs, not because they want freedom, but because they have nowhere else to live. They aren't adventurers, they're survivors. And what you're about to see is what happens when a nation lets its elders fall through every crack in the system. Let's get rolling. More than 700,000 American seniors now live in RVs, vans, or cars because they cannot afford traditional housing. These are not adventurous retirees exploring the country.
Need to go down to San Jose in the South Bay because there was a grim discovery that was made. Police found the body of a man inside of an RV while crews were actually doing that homeless encampment sweep.
They are former teachers, nurses, truck drivers, and factory workers who spent decades contributing to the economy and expected stability in retirement. Instead, they face a brutal financial reality. Average rent in America exceeds $2,100 per month, while typical senior income from Social Security and savings totals only $2,000 to $2,500. That means millions of retirees are financially underwater from the moment they stop working. With no adequate safety net, many seniors purchase used RVs as emergency housing because it appears to be their only option. But RV living for seniors is not freedom or adventure. It is a desperate last line of defense before street homelessness. These seniors park in Walmart lots, rest areas, desert lands, and industrial roadsides, moving constantly to avoid citations and survive on minimal income. They represent a warning about systemic failure. When retirement systems collapse, people do not downsize gracefully. They fall into survival mode. This growing population of invisible poor reveals the harsh truth that doing everything right no longer guarantees security in old age. Between 1980 and 2010, the American retirement system underwent a quiet transformation that would eventually devastate millions of workers.
In question, do I have enough saved for retirement? Nearly 40% of households face a lower standard of living in retirement.
In the 1970s, traditional pensions covered over 60% of employees, providing guaranteed lifetime income after decades of service. By 2025, fewer than 15% of private sector workers have access to pensions. The pension model was straightforward. Work 20 to 30 years, retire with a predictable monthly check for life. Corporations replaced pensions with 401k plans, shifting all financial risk from employers to employees. Unlike pensions that promised stable income, 401k plans promise nothing. Workers must decide how much to contribute, how to invest their money, and hope the stock market performs well. The result has been catastrophic for millions who reached retirement with far less than anticipated. A 401k can disappear overnight during market crashes, and most workers lack the financial expertise required to build adequate retirement savings. This systemic shift eliminated employer responsibility and placed seniors directly in harm's way. Millions followed the rules their entire careers, only to discover the rules had changed without warning. Today, RV parks and Walmart parking lots are filled with seniors who played by the old system but retired under the new one and lost everything. The median 401k balance for Americans aged 60 to 69 is approximately $182,000. On paper, this appears substantial. In reality, using the recommended 4% annual withdrawal rate, this provides only $7,280 per year, roughly $606 per month. Combined with the average Social Security check of $1,900 monthly, seniors receive about $2,500 total. Meanwhile, average apartment rent in America is $2,100. Half of older Americans have far less than the median amount. Many have nothing because their employers never offered retirement plans or they withdrew funds during financial emergencies. Millions lost substantial savings during market crashes. A 401k is not guaranteed income. It is only whatever remains after market volatility. For seniors who retired during periods of extreme financial instability, their savings were destroyed at the worst possible moment. Once seniors claim Social Security early because they can no longer work, their monthly benefit becomes permanently reduced. There is no recovery, no mechanism to fix the shortfall. These seniors did not fail at retirement planning. The 401k system failed them, and continues failing millions more who do not yet realize how fragile their financial future is. Today's RV-dwelling seniors were in their late 40s, 50s, or early 60s during the 2008 financial crash, which erased 40 to 50% of retirement accounts within months. Younger workers recovered because they had time. Seniors did not. If you were 55 to 62 in 2008 and lost half your retirement savings, recovery becomes mathematically impossible. There are not enough working years remaining to rebuild accounts. Many seniors were forced into early retirement due to layoffs, medical problems, or age discrimination. Early retirement locks. Social Security benefits at permanently reduced rates, sometimes 25 to 30% lower for life. Millions lost homes during the foreclosure crisis, draining remaining savings. Combined with rising medical costs and inflation, countless seniors entered retirement with depleted accounts and escalating expenses. The 2008 crash did not merely disrupt retirement planning, it detonated it for an entire generation. Today's RV-dwelling seniors are survivors of a financial catastrophe who never received the opportunity to recover. They did not choose vehicle living as a lifestyle. They were pushed into it by an economic disaster timed at the worst possible moment in their lives. These seniors represent the lasting human cost of systemic economic failure. When seniors lose employment or suffer health crises, they often claim Social Security benefits early, sometimes as soon as age 62, but early claims permanently reduce monthly payments. A senior taking Social Security at 62 receives 25 to 30% less every month for life compared to someone who waits until full retirement age. If they retire before Medicare begins at 65, they must navigate expensive private insurance or go uninsured entirely. By the time they reach 65, medical issues have worsened, incomes are fixed, and financial options have evaporated. Once your Social Security amount locks in at the reduced rate, no mechanism exists to increase it. Meanwhile, costs for rent, food, and utilities continue rising, but income remains frozen. Nearly half of retirees depend on Social Security for 90% of their total income, meaning millions live one unexpected bill away from homelessness. Seniors living in RVs today often followed this exact path. Early retirement forced by layoffs or injury, lower Social Security benefits, inflation, inability to afford rent, vehicle living, eventual collapse. Early retirement is not a choice for these seniors. It is the beginning of a fixed income trap that leads directly to housing insecurity and vehicle dwelling. For decades, Americans believed home equity would provide retirement security. The message was simple. Even without substantial savings, owning a home would protect your future. That plan collapsed spectacularly. Millions of seniors lost homes during the 2008 foreclosure crisis. Others faced property taxes that tripled during gentrification, forcing sales. Many took second mortgages or reverse mortgages to cover medical emergencies, only to watch fees and interest consume all equity. Even seniors who successfully sold homes did not escape. If a senior sells property and clears $30,000, that money lasts perhaps 12 to 18 months at current housing costs. Facing impossible rents, many choose to purchase used RVs for $10,000 to $20,000 instead. It appears to be the perfect solution, cheaper than renting, mobile, and self-contained. Except RVs depreciate immediately, require constant expensive repairs, and lose eligibility at parks once they exceed 10 to 15 years old. Home equity was never the safety net seniors were promised. It was a fragile bet dependent on stable markets, affordable taxes, and perfect health, conditions that rarely exist. Once equity disappears, seniors have nothing except a depreciating vehicle to live in. When rent exceeds income, seniors search desperately for alternatives. A used RV for $15,000 seems like the most affordable solution available. Campgrounds cost $300 to $600 monthly, substantially cheaper than apartment rent. Many imagine surviving by moving with favorable weather and avoiding utility bills. But the dream fades quickly. RV repairs are constant, expensive, and unavoidable. Gas costs transform mobility into an unaffordable luxury. Campgrounds raise rates and impose strict age restrictions on older vehicles. Seniors begin parking wherever they can, anywhere free that tolerates extended parking. The RV becomes simultaneously home and prison. Loneliness becomes overwhelming. Healthcare becomes nearly impossible to manage. Social Security does not stretch far enough to cover basic needs. What initially felt like a practical solution reveals itself as merely a temporary delay before homelessness. RV life for seniors is not freedom or adventure. It is survival. The constant stress of finding legal parking, maintaining an aging vehicle, and managing health problems on minimal income creates a relentless cycle that wears down physical and mental health until crisis becomes inevitable. One of the most devastating triggers of senior RV homelessness is the 10-year rule. Most private RV parks across the United States refuse to accept any RV older than 10 to 15 years, regardless of actual condition. This policy was not created for safety reasons. It was established to maintain aesthetic standards that exclude older, cheaper rigs. A senior who purchases a 2010 or 2012 RV in 2025 may gain park access briefly, but by 2027 to 2030, nearly every private park will deny entry simply because their vehicle appears old. That instantly eliminates their most stable parking option. Seniors are then forced onto Bureau of Land Management land, which allows only 14-day stays before requiring moves of at least 25 miles. Others try Walmart lots, city streets, casinos, or industrial areas where rules constantly change and police can eject them anytime. Constant movement burns fuel, accelerates mechanical wear, and increases breakdown likelihood. Seniors who once believed RV living was a viable solution quickly discover they are trapped in a cycle, pushing them from legal spaces into gray zones and eventually into illegal parking. The 10-year rule is not about safety. It is economic discrimination that pushes seniors from housing insecurity into full homelessness. Once seniors are pushed from RV parks by age restrictions or rising rates, they enter a relentless survival loop. They must constantly rotate between temporary parking locations, Bureau of Land Management land, rest stops, abandoned lots, industrial zones, Walmart parking lots, and casino spaces. None provide permanence. Many cities pass ordinances banning oversized vehicle overnight parking, forcing seniors to move every 24 to 72 hours. Every relocation burns fuel they can barely afford. Gas becomes not transportation cost, but survival cost. Mechanical problems increase because the RV is always moving. Constant movement destroys health stability. Seniors lose access to regular pharmacies, cannot schedule follow-up appointments, and fail to maintain consistent medication routines. Without residency, Medicare doctors often refuse appointments entirely. Seniors become experts at survival logistics, finding water, hiding from law enforcement, locating free Wi-Fi, and searching for legal sleeping spots. This constant motion causes chronic stress, poor sleep, worsening depression, and physical decline. What influencers call van life is, for these seniors, a grind without rest. They are not travelers. They are displaced Americans chasing temporary safety with no long-term solution available. This cycle continues until the RV breaks down, or their health collapses completely. Seniors living in RVs experience one of the most dangerous forms of medical instability in America. Medicare is designed for people with fixed addresses, something RV seniors no longer possess. To obtain a primary care doctor under Medicare, you must prove residency. Without that, seniors are denied access to routine care, medication management, and ongoing treatment for chronic conditions. Most have 3 to 5 prescriptions requiring monthly refills, yet pharmacies often refuse transfers across state lines without repeated verification. Mobility makes preventive care impossible. A simple infection treatable for $20 becomes a $1,200 emergency room visit. Conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and COPD worsen rapidly without consistent care. Seniors in mobile living situations experience higher hospitalization rates, faster physical decline, and significantly shorter life expectancy. Something as simple as a dead RV battery can be life-threatening because CPAP machines, oxygen equipment, blood pressure monitors, and insulin refrigeration all depend on reliable electricity. Hospitals patch them up, discharge them back to the same unstable environment, and the cycle repeats. The system punishes mobility even though mobility is forced by homelessness. This is not medical failure. It is structural policy failure that treats seniors as unreachable simply because they lack a permanent address. For seniors living in RVs, mechanical breakdown is not an inconvenience. It is the final step before full homelessness. Most seniors own RVs worth $2,000 to $5,000, already near the end of usable lifespan. These older rigs require constant maintenance. Water pumps cost $250. RV refrigerators cost $800 to $1,500. Air conditioning repairs cost $1,200, and roof resealing can cost $2,000 to $4,000. Transmission failure can cost $3,000 to $6,000, far more than vehicle value. With fixed incomes of $1,200 to $2,000 monthly, seniors simply cannot afford these repairs. When something major breaks, the RV often becomes immobile or uninhabitable due to leaks, mold, or mechanical failure. Because shelters rarely accommodate seniors with complex medical needs, these individuals have no fallback. They cannot move into apartments due to income requirements or years-long wait lists. If the RV is towed, everything they own is inside: medication, documents, clothing, memories. Many seniors describe their RV's breakdown as the moment life ended. Studies show mortality rates skyrocket for seniors transitioning from vehicle living to street homelessness. Mechanical collapse is not a small event. It is the tipping point from fragile survival into irreversible crisis. The United States has no systematic infrastructure for long-term vehicle dwellers, even though hundreds of thousands depend on RVs as their last form of housing. Essential needs become daily challenges. Dumping wastewater costs $10 to $30, and many dump stations are closed or restricted. Without access, seniors sometimes illegally dump gray water or black water because they have no choice, leading to fines they cannot pay. Freshwater refills can cost $5 to $15, adding up quickly on fixed income. Without electrical hookups, RV batteries die, disabling vital medical equipment like CPAP machines and insulin refrigeration. Solar panels help but require expensive upfront investment. Internet access is inconsistent, yet seniors need it to manage Social Security accounts, telehealth appointments, and benefit applications. Parking itself is constant battle. Cities pass ordinances to push RVs out of sight, ticketing, towing, or criminalizing overnight parking. There are almost no legal long-term parking options for seniors relying on RVs as homes. The United States built cities for houses and apartments, not vehicles functioning as permanent shelter. Seniors fall into a policy gap. Not housed, not officially homeless, but living in conditions more unstable than either category. This infrastructure absence pushes them deeper into crisis. One of the most successful solutions is the Pueblo Overflow RV site in Colorado. Recognizing seniors were cycling between parking lots and emergency rooms, the city converted municipal land into a designated RV living community. It includes 48 RV spaces, full hookups for water, sewer, and electricity, trash service, on-site security, and access to case management. Monthly rent is $225, less than half the cost of private RV parks. Importantly, there is no 10-year rule. Older RVs are allowed if safe. The results are remarkable. 71% of residents were connected to benefits they were not receiving before, including Medicaid, SNAP, and heating assistance. Emergency room visits dropped 62%, saving the city hundreds of thousands of dollars. 23 seniors moved into permanent housing within 18 months. Annual operating cost is $317,000 total, or roughly $6,500 per space. Far cheaper than repeated emergency room visits, policing, and towing expenses. Pueblo proved the solution is not theoretical. It works. But most cities refuse to implement similar programs despite having available land, funding, and demonstrated need. This model could immediately stabilize tens of thousands of seniors nationwide, but requires political will and public support to expand. Los Angeles County's Seniors Unhoused initiative takes a different approach. Skip RV living entirely and place seniors directly into apartments. The county leases 240 units across the region and removes barriers like credit checks and income requirements. Seniors pay 30% of their income toward rent, while the program covers the remainder. Case managers help participants apply for benefits, medical care, and long-term support. The outcomes are powerful. 83% of participants remain housed after 2 years. Cost per senior per year is $14,000. By comparison, the county previously spent over $32,000 per person annually on emergency room visits, ambulance rides, and hospital stays for the same population. Housing is cheaper than homelessness. The program is fully operational, not a pilot, not a future idea, but serves only a tiny fraction of the need. If scaled nationwide, tens of thousands of seniors could avoid vehicle living and immediate crises. This model proves that solving homelessness is not about finding better parking. It is about providing actual housing with support that stabilizes seniors for the long term. The infrastructure exists. The barrier is political will and funding allocation, not feasibility. Arizona and New Mexico created one of the most cost-effective solutions: mobile medical teams that visit RV encampments, parking lots, rest areas, and known vehicle dwelling areas. These teams perform basic health screenings, wound care, diabetes checks, blood pressure monitoring, mental health assessments, and vaccinations. They also help seniors apply for Medicare, Medicaid, and prescription assistance programs on site. Many seniors are eligible but not enrolled due to paperwork barriers. Over a 2-year study period, seniors receiving at least 3 mobile visits experienced 49% fewer emergency room visits and 71% fewer hospitalizations. Each mobile visit costs $85. Prevented hospitalizations save $15,000 to $40,000 each. The return on investment is enormous. More importantly, these teams catch dangerous conditions early, before they become fatal. Foot ulcers, infections, untreated heart problems, and unmanaged diabetes are all addressed before they escalate. Mobile care treats seniors where they are, instead of expecting unstable seniors to travel hundreds of miles to clinics. This program could be deployed nationwide with minimal cost, yet only a few states use it. It is a proven life-saving model bridging the gap between homelessness, mobility, and medical care. The senior RV homelessness crisis is not isolated. It is the preview of a national retirement collapse. Generation X, now in their 40s and 50s, has less retirement savings, higher housing costs, and far more debt than boomers faced. Only 7% of Gen X workers have pensions. Millennials and Gen Z face even worse prospects. These younger generations entered the workforce during an era of stagnant wages, exploding rent, and rising inflation. Many will never own property, meaning they will never accumulate home equity, the safety net boomers relied on before it disappeared. If nothing changes, millions from these generations will face retirement with insufficient savings and no stable housing options. Vehicle living will not be a fringe issue. It will be mainstream poverty. The seniors living in RVs today are the warning shot, the early wave of a much larger crisis forming behind them. The real danger is not what is happening. It is what this crisis predicts. Without reform, America is heading toward a future where retirement becomes rare, poverty becomes normal, and RV homelessness becomes the default end-of-life stage for millions. The system did not just fail today's seniors, it is positioned to fail the next 2 generations even harder. The brutal truth is this: the line between safety and survival in America is now only one paycheck, one illness, or one breakdown away. Do you think America is ready to face this reality? Or are we pretending it isn't happening? Share your thoughts below, and join us in our next video, where we uncover the first places in America where this crisis began to explode long before 2025.